Hare Krishna guys, it's me, the old school monk, and today is another day on planet Earth and another day in Gillinor, the realm of RuneScape. I hope everyone's doing good out there in cyberspace. I'm just doing quite a peaceful activity of sort of adding logs to this bonfire. I feel like it's a peaceful way to wind up a day. Just get a bit of AFK passive firemaking XP. I guess I just wanted to make a little video again this fine evening and share some thoughts that I've been having about RuneScape and life in general. I've kind of been reflecting on how kind of wonderful the game is in terms of how you carry your experience from the beginning of the game to the present day. Like I was thinking about my firemaking XP, and 25 XP of this firemaking XP is the first log that I ever burnt on Tutorial Island, and that experience is included in my total experience. Yay. And I thought, life's a little bit like that, isn't it? We carry our experiences through life, and the activities that we perform today can be seen in the person that we are tomorrow, and our activities of the past can be seen today. So whether that means that we in the past did things which were pleasurable in the short term that are causing us displeasure now, or if we did things which were hard and are giving us the fruits. Easy example is something like health, fitness. Like if you eat junk food at the wrong times and you don't exercise, then over time your body kind of deteriorates and you become kind of unhealthy. So that's an example of short-term pain, short-term gain, long-term pain. Whereas people who eat healthy and exercise regularly, not only does their body aesthetically look better, but they feel better. The body functions better. It's well maintained. So just this idea of the person we are today as a result of the activities that we performed in the past, I thought that was a nice meditation for us now in the present. I guess in the past week I've been kind of gripped by some bad habits of the past. I've let them creep in and kind of consume me a little bit, as I haven't been so busy with work and things like that. So these bad habits have crept in, and they're very deep grooves which are kind of carved into my psyche, and they're almost like coping mechanisms for dealing with an unpleasant feeling or thought. And we've all got these kinds of habits, whether it's something to do with a substance or something that's more of like a harmful behavior. We've all got these kind of vices that we use to help us deal with uncomfortable emotions or uncomfortable feelings, And I got to the point where I'm just like, okay, I'm fed up of this experience. In recovery circles they'll call it rock bottom, where you get to a point where it's just like, okay, this is not worth it anymore. I'm fed up of doing this activity which is causing me harm. So at that point, you can start to really meditate on changing, and it can be really difficult to change. Sometimes you can't just change overnight, and if you're dealing with some sort of substance, sometimes if you just stop cold turkey, actually it could be quite dangerous. But it's this desire to change, this meditation, this this thinking about changing, which will eventually cause the change to take place in the right time, you know. Where attention goes, energy flows. So maybe it's important to meditate on the change that we want to make, even though we may feel powerless in the moment to make it. You know, this power of visualizing the person that you want to be in the life that you want to live. That visualization is very very potent and very powerful. That's why we read or we're prescribed to read scripture as monks, like in the temple, because these scriptures, they talk of like spiritual perfections, like a spiritual reality that exists kind of beyond this world of anxiety, this Vaikuntha sky they call it. So it's a realm free of anxiety, where every word is a song, every step is a dance, every meal is a feast, you know. It's this place that's filled with beauty, filled with love, and filled with relationship. So we hear about this is the goal of spiritual life, is to kind of transcend this material reality and return back home, back to Godhead. So go back to the spiritual reality. And you hear about it in the Bible, Quran. All the scriptures talk about this idea of heaven. If you read the Buddhist scripture, they talk about this idea of nirvana. So nirvana means, vana means forest, and nir is like a negative, so it's like being out of the forest. And this material world is commonly described as the forest of desire. Samsara davanala lida loka trinaya karunya ganaganapam. So it's like this forest is on fire. It's like our desires are burning. They're burning so strongly, you know. Whatever your desire is, whether it's a sex desire, whether it's a desire to attain a certain skill, or as I talked about in the last video, might be a desire to collect certain Pokemon cards. And the thing is like, we try to kind of fulfill these desires. We try to like actually achieve them. And it is like putting a log on the fire. It's kind of ironic how we're talking about it as I'm doing the skill in RuneScape, but when you put a log on the fire, temporarily that fire will kind of die down a little bit. And that's what it's like that. When we fulfill one of our desires, temporarily the kind of desires are quite quelled. You're like, oh, there's a bit of relief from this burning desire. But the thing is, you've put a log on the fire, and once that log catches, the fire actually gets stronger. So this is something that's commonly expressed, especially within the Vedic texts, but also in the Buddhist texts. It's this idea of, okay, if we strive to fulfill our desires, actually the desires just get stronger. And that's material desires. So in the Bhagavad Gita, we hear about this idea of becoming desireless, which means, you know, it means that we're beyond the urges of our mind, you know, what our mind is telling us. It could be really, really opulent desire, or it could be something quite simple. Maybe it's like, okay, I need to get this particular car, so then, you know, I don't know, maybe if I get a more reliable car, I'll spend less money, and I'll have less anxiety about it breaking down, and I'll be able to go back and forth to work, or I'll be able to go and drive around and do the things that I need to do. And all of this desiring of aspiring and desiring this thing in the future completely takes us out of the present moment, and it stops us from feeling satisfaction with where we're at, you know. Like right now, if you just like pause, you know what I mean? Just pause for thought, and just, actually everything is okay right now in this moment, you know. And all of the things that are taking us out of the moment are based on some sort of desire, you know. Whether it's like, oh, I need to get a job so that I can pay for this, and then I could do this, and I could do that, and then I could do this. It's all about fulfilling plans, and the more opulent your plans become, the more cultivated your desires, you know, the more you increase that desire for certain things, is the more you are unable to sort of plug into just being and just existing, you know. But it's kind of trying to get the balance right, because we do need to desire a comfortable enough position, you know. Like, we need a place to sleep, we need food in our belly, we need a shelter over our head, because without those things you're in survival mode, and survival mode also takes you out of the moment, if you know what I mean. So it's about desiring, but just desiring enough, and the best way to do that is under guidance. You need some sort of person that you trust, who's a kind of elder, or someone who's more experienced, or just someone who's detached from your situation, and you get their perspective, you know. It can be very helpful to get perspective outside of because our mind is just constantly feeding us all of this stuff, and it's very stressful, very distracting. So yeah, I guess the thought process of, okay, these potentially we've built up some bad habits, that we're kind of tasting the bitter fruits of those unwanted things in our life, you know. Maybe it's making us sluggish and lethargic. Maybe our kind of environment is becoming more and more messy. Our mind is becoming more and more disturbed. So we actually have to desire to make a shift towards a better type of life. A life that's based on something more simple, based on a more higher satisfaction, and that's why people they develop these kind of, isn't it like a vision board, or they journal, or they put that goal in front of them at all times. Like, visualization is very important. I know that like race car drivers will visualize the track that they're going to race many times before they actually go around the track. So they'll sit there, and in their mind they'll go through, okay, at this point I'm going to turn, at this point I'm going to brake, at this time I'm going to accelerate. And it's like that. We can actually meditate, we can pause and meditate on the life that we want to live, you know, and sort of begin to manifest it. And that visualization can be the bridge between the life that you're living and the life that you want to live, you know. We have a lot of potency in our desires, and in fact everything is built on desire in this world. Like in the Bhagavad Gita, it says that this world is like it actually says the spiritual world is like a desire tree, it's like a banyan tree, and this material world is a reflection of the banyan tree, and the water upon which the reflection is facilitated is the desire of the living entity. Maybe that makes sense, maybe it doesn't, it's not so important. But what I'm saying is our desires are what brings us from now to then. Alright? So there's a couple of thoughts for you. Now, we're getting towards the end of the video. I wanted to address some of the comments that we got in the last video. Now look, I'm going to hold my hands up. The topic that I spoke on, which became kind of controversial within the comment sections, was this idea of potentially sort of the theory of evolution, and kind of the scientific information that we're taught in school may not be 100% factual. And I could see that in the comments. It kind of triggered people because I was clearly speaking on a subject which I'm not educated on. So I do want to apologize to everyone who kind of heard what I was saying and saying, this guy's a fool, why is he talking on something that's not his area of expertise. I'm sorry, I was just rambling and just talking on things that I've heard through the grapevine, through classes and whatnot, and I've heard lectures from like statisticians, physicians, biologists, scientists, whatnot, and I found the information compelling, but I'm a buffoon and I'm completely unqualified to relay that information to you guys. So, hands in the air, I'm sorry. I had a couple of comments saying that this channel has become the the ramblings of a cultist, you know. Okay, mate, so be it. Perhaps that's the case, but Hare Krishna is a nice cult. They're friendly people. There's no sinister cult. You know, cult means like a group that's centered around like a central figure. So it is a cult. We're all about Krishna, all about God. And ultimately any religion is about a cult, is a cult, and even any organization, you know, you could say it's the Darwinist cult, because this theory of evolution is centered around a central figure and a central theory. But yeah, I'm not trying to get into a controversial thing. Believe what you like. At the end of the day, I'm not so interested in being right, you know. I just want to share some things which I'm thinking about, and share some helpful knowledge, information, realizations that could potentially be tools in your life to enact a positive change and move in that direction of God. So sometimes I'm a little bit zealous. Sorry, man. I'm a human. I'm not perfect. Alright. I'm literally just trying my best, but that's true. I am trying my best. So. Thanks for the comments. If you wanted to unsubscribe, please unsubscribe. Like, I don't want to hold you here against your will. Those who are forced against their will are of the same opinion still. You can't force anyone to believe anything, you know. And that's where a lot of these kind of religious groups go wrong, is they try to shove it down people's necks. But at the end of the day, that's not going to happen. You know, like, no one wants to be forced to do anything. Like, we have free will, so take what you want to take, reject what you want to reject. Try not to leave mean comments down below, because, as I said, I am human, and you say a nasty thing, it's going to hurt my feelings. You know what I mean? I'm reading every comment, reading them. So if you say a nice thing, I'll hear it. If you say a nasty thing, then I'll hear it. So, and it's human nature. Like, when we can hear 100 good comments, but the one negative comment will smash you out. So I'm thinking, let me know if this is a bad practice, but I was potentially thinking maybe all negative comments I could just delete it and just make this channel all about positive comments, because there's so much toxicity and negativity, and especially on like you know, like video game stuff, it is lower modes. Like playing games is by nature it's illusion, you know, like we're choosing to abandon reality by playing the game, right? It's a role-playing game, so we're aware. Like, I know that I'm not this guy on the screen that you're looking at now lighting a fire, but we abandon reality to kind of accept that guy as me, you know. So the reason I say that, it means it's like the mode of ignorance is all about illusion. It's about accepting that which is not to be true. Yeah, that's the lower nature of this world, you know. So taking drugs, you're purposely intoxicating yourself. You're putting yourself into illusion. So that kind of behavior degrades over time. Same with games. If you let it get out of hand, it'll degrade your position. And that's not me, you know, that's without judgment I say that, it's just kind of factual. Like, if you play it all day, every day, your position is going to gradually go down, right? In the quote-unquote real world. So yeah. So video game comment sections on YouTube is naturally going to have negativity there, because that mode of ignorance is symptomized by negativity. So it would be nice if this channel could be a safe haven. It would be nice, you know. But, you know, I guess it's up to me, the type of stuff that I put out there as well. I don't really like the idea of triggering people. So if you guys also talk about this evolution topic, if you think I should just like leave evolution alone and just just talk about things which people can practically apply, then I'm more than happy. Because I don't really, at the end of the day, I don't care whether, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't really affect me. It doesn't affect my life, whether I evolve from a monkey or every living entity within the universe has been pre-designed, and each of those living entities are hard-coded into the source code of the universe. Like, this is the Vedic idea. It's the idea that every universe is almost like a Lego box filled with potential, but that Lego box has restrictions and it has pre-designations. So it says there's 8,400,000 species of life, but they've been pre-created. And there's demigods or higher living entities living entities with intelligence far more complex than us, called Prajapatis, like progenitors, progeny, the Prajapatis. And the Prajapatis, they almost like they spawn a certain species where there is a requirement of it within the universe, and this happens at the beginning of each cycle. They have these yugas, and the yugas are like cycles, like winter, spring, summer, fall. So at the beginning of each cycle, living entities are kind of spawned in, and souls take birth in those bodies. So this is just the Vedic paradigm, the idea that a human form is pre-designed, and it's an eternal form. And a monkey form is also pre-designed, and it's an eternal form. But the Vedic paradigm does account for evolution, but it's the idea that with reincarnation, I'm evolving from a lower species of life to a higher species of life. So after this birth, depending on how I spent my life, whether I spent my life in ignorance or in goodness, dictates the type of body that I get in my next life. So we do have a theory for evolution, and we do have this idea that within the pradhan, or the dormant potential, you've heard of like the Akashic records potentially. The Akash contains information about everything that's ever existed. Anyway, the Vedas are quite scientific if you read them, you know, because I kind of studied some of that stuff, and it makes sense to me. I don't think I am just a cultist that's blindly accepting things and giving over my intelligence. You know, I'm using my discrimination and I'm questioning these things, but at the same time, why not? You know. Anyway, leave a little comment down below. Leave a really positive comment if you can as well. And if someone else has left a comment, leave a comment to them. Because at the end of the day, if we just try to uplift each other, then that's going to have quite a ripple effect on the world, you know. Let's try to get out this negative mindset, because it's killing us all. God bless you all, guys. Hare Krishna. This has been a nice fire session with you guys. I really appreciate you guys, and your ears. Your eyes and your ears. Okay, God blesseth. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.